Welcome to Anything But Ordinary with your host, Spooky and Raven. Hi, Spooky here, and I want to introduce you to my co-host, Raven. How you doing tonight, Raven?
Good. We had a topic tonight, but we decided to push it for next week because a good friend of ours decided that we should really focus on just talking about us tonight and letting people get to know who we are.
And both of us decided that was a good idea because we want everyone to know that we are setting this up so you have a place to come to where you can listen to, we hope, a good show, and that you can put your opinions and comments in chat and not be afraid of drama.
Paranormal stuff.
Well, that's true. We're going to talk about anything that catches our attention. Paranormal, cryptozoology, UFOs, you name it, we are going to talk about it. Raven and I have searched the net looking for good paranormal shows, and we're finding out that they're just not out there. Very few of them are out there, and we want a place where our friends can come to. Some of you know that on Friday night I call into the Nightbreed show with the Ghost Scatter, and this is kind of what put the bug in me to do this. We can't, he's one of the few shows that you can actually go to and listen and chat and not be afraid to disagree with anyone. And I've been doing that for about 4 years now, and about 3 years ago I decided that I wanted to have a show and talk about the paranormal, the unknown, cryptozoology, anything that caught my attention and caught Raven's attention. I wanted Raven to do this with me because Raven and I talk a lot. And we have a lot of discussions, and her and I talk about anything and everything. And we thought maybe other people would like to hear these discussions too.
Well, I'm just, like she said, you know, we're always looking for things on the internet that have to pertain with the paranormal and the unknown and everything, and there's really nothing out there anymore. And the things that are out there are people who are looking to make money or wanting to do conferences or wanting to get famous and stuff, and there's really nowhere else to go, and we just thought it'd be kind of cool to start a place where we could all come back together and everybody could share their stories and their experiences with the unknown and the paranormal, cryptozoology, and whatever else kind of sparks our interest. We want people to call in, share their stories, share their EVPs, share their videos or photos that they captured. We're also going to be sharing things that we have with EVPs and videos that we have got from our own experiences, or with some of the topics we talk about. We may have things to share with that. But no, we didn't plan on doing live cam video show. We were looking to do more of like a talk paranormal radio type show, but we just started off on this venue because we weren't really sure what we were all going to do with it, whatever. But like I said, we just wanted a place where everybody could come and hang out, feel comfortable, not be mocked, really, ridiculed for having these experiences, and where they could just feel comfortable. And we're not here to bash anybody. We might talk about stuff. Doesn't mean that we 100% believe it, but we're interested in it, and we just feel like, going down the rabbit hole and figuring out the truths, about the unknown and paranormal, stuff like that.
While we're not on live video, we wanted this to be more like radio. We will be having videos to offer and to show people, EVPs and things like that. And remember, just because we talk about a certain subject does not mean that we agree with the content of that subject. We like to talk about anything and everything that just catches our attention. It doesn't mean that we believe in it. It just simply means that that's what we chose to talk about.
Well, no, but we found it fascinating enough just to kind of banter about it. And I'm not always going to agree with everything that you say, that's for sure. So.
Oh, well, yeah, for sure. You hardly agree with me anyway on things. But we do want you to be able to post your comments, your questions, your opinions in chat, or even Skype us at anythingbutordinary@live.com. We'll add you. We'll put you on the air. And since neither of us are professional broadcasters, you're just going to hear us talk to each other the way we always do, unscripted and natural.
Yeah, and like you said, you've been already calling into the Nightbreed show for at least 3 or 4 years, and that's kind of like how you got wanting to get into this avenue because you kind of got bitten by the bug, and there wasn't really a whole lot of paranormal or unexplained. It's just there's not a lot of good places out there anymore where everybody's not in it to get famous or to make money or, you know, to swindle somebody out of it, or somebody's gifted and they want, you know, it's just always me, and I just want a place where all of us can come together, all of us share opinions and ideas on certain topics, on what we think about this or what we think about that, you know, because to me not everything's demonic, not everything is a ghost, something could be explained off scientifically, you know, but there's, you know, like cryptozoology and time travel, and there's just tons of different things that me and you are constantly talking about that I know other people are thinking about, but just don't really have anybody else to, you know, banter with. And it's kind of nice to do it on the internet because you still have a safety where, you know, you're not right up in that person, where you still feel a little comfortable, where you can share stuff and not feel like you're going to be attacked or made fun of or mocked. You know, we just want a safe place where everybody can just come together and we can all grow and learn.
We want you
together.
to have fun. We want you to relax, and like I said before, hopefully you'll listen to a pretty good show. It's we've been. I have to thank Raven too for setting all of this up. She has been with me since the beginning, and she's the one that really pushed me to get it going because she knew it was something I wanted to do. Because ever since I started calling into the Nightbreed show, well, pretty close to it. It's just the Ghost Getter just kind of put the bug in my ear. I thought it was a good idea, and Raven has backed me up since the beginning.
That's true. We do have a couple of EVPs for later on in the evening. What we were doing is I downloaded this, it's like a Skype program that records all your Skype calls, because we weren't really sure how we were going to broadcast our show or what avenue we were going to take or whatever. And I was playing around with it and letting it run while we were recording our Skype calls, and every single time it seems like we are talking, we end up catching EVPs on our Skype calls.
And we're going to play those for you here in a bit. But there are so many things that entail in the paranormal that it's just hard to pick one certain thing. So we thought that we would every week just pick something and pick it apart and talk about it and just do what we can with it.
Well, that, and we're going to have guest speakers calling too. There's a couple of people. Yeah, we have a couple of people that we know that have books and or experiences and stuff like that.
Plus, we're not going to just stick with the paranormal either. We are going to do conspiracies, current events, you know, just anything, like I said, just anything that catches our attention.
Well, yeah, but it would be great to have Penny call in one time and you guys get jabbering about your JFK conspiracy.
Yeah, we're going to have Penny call in. Penny and I had a very good, we had a fantastic conversation one time about the JFK conspiracy, which I know everybody's thinking that has been picked apart. But you know what? It's still a fascinating subject, and a lot of people to this day are still talking about it. So we're just going to do what we can with it.
Well, how long have you been into the paranormal?
Okay, I've been into the paranormal just about all my life in one way or another. I was born in a haunted house, I grew up in it, and I live in it to this day. I have, when I was a kid, I was able to see spirits. Unfortunately, my mother thought that I was always seeing demons, and she even had a doctor tell her that I was schizophrenic. Some people just don't want to understand that. It wasn't until later in life that I more or less learned to accept it, and because I found out what was happening to me. But I love doing investigations. I would rather be out on an investigation really than doing anything else in the world.
What was one of your most interesting experiences on one of your investigations?
Oh my gosh, I've had a lot of them, but the one thing that I can really think of at the beginning, it's kind of scary really. I was in a house and I was walking up these stairs, and I was on a tour is what it was, and I was walking up these stairs and there was just something not right. The minute I entered that house, there was just not something right. So I'm going up these stairs, and the closer I get to the top landing, I mean, the hair on the back of my neck was standing up. And all of a sudden, and I couldn't see it, but I could hear it. As soon as I hit the top stair, something was right in my face and told me I'd better get out of there before I got hurt. And I couldn't see it. I could hear it. I could feel the breath on my face. And I just turned around and walked out. And that has happened to me more than once, but that is the one that really stands out in my mind, because I turned around, I walked out of that house, I didn't tell anybody till later what had happened, and I found out that one other person that was standing there heard it. So it wasn't something that everybody heard. I've had many experiences through the years. Some of them have been pretty good, some of them have been not so good, but I've been lucky enough that I have at least had the experience and I'm able to do that. Have you had any experiences at all?
Oh yeah, I've had a lot of experiences growing up throughout the ages. I've never really talked about it a lot to people outside of the internet land, just because people think you're crazy or you're a witch back in the day.
Yeah.
Now it seems like everybody is more open to talk about it, but I mean, when I was growing up, whatever, I did mention it as a little kid, but then I was told that I was just seeing stuff, go back to bed or whatever, so I just kind of had to deal with it on my own as a little kid or whatever, and that's kind of scary, but you just kind of grow to learn how to adapt and beeline away from things when you're seeing them, whatever, but I don't know, I've had a lot of interesting experiences. I've had it where I've been sitting in a recliner before and it was pushed up all the way and we couldn't pull it back down while I was still in the chair. I've had things fly around and move. I've been touched. I've heard voices. I've seen apparitions.
You brought up a good point. When you're a kid and you see these things and you try to tell somebody, my mother was a Pentecostal evangelist. This is a woman that believes that all spirits are demons.
Not that we have anything against people who have religious beliefs. It's just...
Exactly. But the thing of it was, when I would tell her about these things, she thought I was demon-possessed. She would send me to talk to her preacher. She would do just about anything. She finally took me to a doctor one time, and I'm just a kid, and this doctor said, well, she's schizophrenic. Paranoid schizophrenic. As a child. Now, how would they know that? Because I was seeing things. I was hearing things. I was seeing things fly through the air. I would be sitting in my room, and all of a sudden, a ball or something would fly through the air and hit the wall. It's just they don't believe you when you're young. And then when you grow up, it's still the same thing. My mom always said that it was nothing but demons. And to me, I couldn't understand this, because what if they were angels? Did anyone ever think of that? What if they were angels? And then my sisters, they all think I'm nuts too, but that's a different story.
But see, why is somebody so quick to say that a child's making something up and not hearing it, so let's hurry up and shove them on pills and deem them mental? And that to me I find bothersome. To me, I think that has something to do with other issues that has nothing to do with the paranormal. That has to do with drug companies and people wanting to make their money, so let's just capitalize on this. But it's like, if that was my child, I would talk to them and really try to feel this out to make sure, are they serious? Are they really experiencing something? Or is this a dream or whatever? But I would feel it out. I wouldn't just automatically assume that A, they're possessed, or B, they're mental. I just...
Well, it's kind of hard when you grow up in a religious household, because church teaches you to...
Some churches, no.
Yeah, you're right. But a lot of religion teaches you that these things are evil, that they are not to be messed with, that you're not even to investigate them. And when you do, and you can't turn it off. Some people just absolutely cannot turn this off. I've tried. Over the years, I have learned to kind of put a bubble around myself and to kind of block things out. And in the meantime, I've learned to block out a lot of other people who had things to say. I got the nickname Spooky because I was different from the other kids. But some people just do not take the time to find out exactly what it is that their children are seeing.
Well, that's true. That's the thing, and it's not just. I don't know. There's a lot of people seeing things nowadays, and that's why people keep quiet when they have these experiences, because who are they going to go tell? They go and tell somebody, and then they're deemed as, they're full of demons, or they're possessed, or they're crazy, and then, here they are left by themselves. And that's why, another reason why I thought it'd be a good idea to start a group like this, so that other people could come in where they felt comfortable and say, hey, I'm having these experiences, and maybe, hopefully, they can run into somebody else in our group and in our chat that can help them.
Well, that's true, and I hope that people who come in like that feel comfortable in here, and that they feel comfortable enough that they can sit and talk about the things that they see or the things that they do, and that they know that they have a place to go. And that's what I want. It's not so much the fact that I'm broadcasting, because I do enjoy that, but I want people to have a place to go where they can all talk about their experiences, what they're interested in. If they have questions, I want them to ask. I just want them to just be comfortable, just feel comfortable, and to know that they're not the only ones out there that feel like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's been places where I know I've gone into other paranormal sites and stuff where people were starting to open up and chat, and then they'd be shot down by the mods and say, you can't talk about this here, or they were made fun of or ridiculed and stuff. So it's almost like they didn't have a place to go to, so it's kind of like they're on their own. And it's like some people are coming in not for themselves, but they're coming in for their children, and they're looking for other people whose kids are having experiences, so maybe that they can connect with somebody there and say, well, what are you doing? What's helping you? Or, looking for tips or ideas and stuff. It's just sad that there's so many different levels of... I don't know, I lost my train of thought. Thanks to Penny.
Yeah.
But Scooby had a question. She wants to know if ghost breath is compared to dog's breath.
Well, let me tell you, Scooby, it didn't smell good. It was very, very hot, and it did have an odor to it. It most certainly did, and it wasn't a pleasant odor either. But it sent fear through me, and I'm not afraid of nothing. There is very, very little that in this world that I'm afraid of. But that it not only made the hair on the back of my neck stand up, it made the hair on my arm stand up. And if I was looking in a mirror, I'd just about bet the hair on my head was standing up. It just was not a pleasant experience. But that's not the only demon I've ever encountered. But I have always made it a point never to mess with them. I try to get somebody else that is more experienced than I am to do it. I just, messing with demons. I was at the Valissa Axe Murder House in Iowa. I was looking forward to that. I wanted to go in so bad, and I had saved up my money. I mean, I made this trip specifically to go to this place, and I never walked in the house. I stood on the sidewalk in front of on the lawn in front of the house, and something kept telling me, if you go in there, you're going to get hurt, you're going to get seriously hurt. And I never walked in, so that was money wasted on top of everything else. But Scooby's right, when you feel fear, it is best to back off. And don't think, well, I got to go see what this is all about. Fear is a great trigger. It tells you.
I just go.
Well, some people do, and there's been a couple times that I have. I hate to admit that. But when you feel fear, that is a trigger to tell you, something is telling you, back off. Back off or use extreme caution. You don't want to. To me, it's silly to just go in and run in ahead of your fear. But it's like I said, there's very little that scares me. And the problem, too, is most of the time when I do become afraid, then my curiosity is piqued. And usually my curiosity wins. It wins over common sense.
Well, that's true, but there's some things that, you know, I don't know. Sometimes you just have to figure out what it is. That's just in me. I like to figure out what's causing this. Is this for real? This not for real? You know, is it a hoax? It's like sometimes you just have to go figure it out, or it's going to be eating at the back of your mind forever. That's how it is.
Well, I can agree with that, but because there's been lots of times when I have backed away from something and then I've sat and picked it apart. Well, why did I feel that? Why did I back away? Why am I here to begin with? I came here because I was curious. I wanted to go in and see what was going on. But there's been a lot of times too that I've gone to places that people have told me that were full of spirits, you know, bad and good. And I've walked in and I experienced absolutely nothing. Just absolutely nothing.
I haven't gone and done as much as you have, where you've gone to all these different quote-unquote haunted houses or whatever and stuff. It's usually wherever I am at, there always seems to be activity. But I've never gone out of my way to go to like a mansion like you talked about, or to, you know, specific famous sites or whatever. So I've gone to local places that, you know, you shouldn't be going to, like abandoned insane asylums and stuff like that, but I've never really gone and investigated like y'all do. I just happen to experience stuff all the time.
Well, I do too. I just, well, the other night I was sitting here talking to you and something threw something at me. It landed on my desk. You could clearly hear it. Things have been active around here, but the thing of it is they've been throwing things. And
for anybody who's listening on JTV, if you want to come and join us and chat, please scroll down and you'll see a link to our website that has the chat where you can listen and chat at the same place.
Yeah, we'd love to have you in there.
But you've been having stuff thrown at you.
I've been having stuff thrown at me. There's been things moved. The other day I went to, I had to go to town, and I went to get my truck keys. I have this nail on the wall where I hang them. They were gone. I looked for an hour before I finally, you know, stood in the middle of the room and said, all right, knock this off. You know, this is just too much. Knock it off. There's been times when things have gotten so bad that I said, you know what, if you don't knock it off, I'm going to ban you from this place. And it, for some reason, seems to work. I don't know if they're trying to get my attention. I don't know if things are just active lately, if it's the change of weather or what it is, but it just seems like lately things have been very, very active.
Oh, you know what else irks me about other paranormal sites that you go to and stuff, and you just want to go hang out, get to know people, whatever?
What?
It seems like everybody thinks they're an expert about the afterlife.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Everybody's a demonologist, or everybody knows everything, and I'm just like, even if I saw stuff my whole entire life, I would never claim that I am an expert by any means when it comes to that realm. No one is, you know, only the higher power knows, if you believe in that such a thing, but I do. But I'm just saying, it just cracks me up. All these people print out these little awards and paperwork and says, I'm a demonologist, I'm an expert ghost hunter because I've been running around in the dark for 9 years. And it's like, we're all equal players on the same field. Nobody is better than anybody else. And I don't think anybody should be paying anybody any money. You know, if you have a group coming in to investigate your house, these people should be doing it for free. They shouldn't be charging you to cleanse your house, you know? I just think it's wrong that these people are making money off of other people who are generally looking for help. Well,
unfortunately, there are people out there that are looking for quick ways to make money, and it's bringing out the fakes, you know. And it's just, I've been doing this all my life, and that doesn't make me an expert. What it does, it just makes things right for the way I do them. It makes them right for me. What I do is not right for anybody else.
Yeah, you're sharing tips and advice for somebody else, but you're not claiming that you're higher above them and that they should bow to you, that you have this ego and you're better than anybody. I mean, that's the stuff that I'm talking about. But I mean, it's okay to share information back and forth. Penny had a question. She said, what do we think would cause a feeling of intense heat being felt on your upper back when you're in a place with high activity, and it's not going away for several minutes?
I don't know what to tell you about that, Penny. Something may be just standing right behind you and getting very, very close. I don't want to say that it's. Some people will tell you, well, it's a demon standing back there because because it's heat. I really can't tell you what it is. I've never experienced it, but in my opinion, it could possibly be a spirit standing very, very close to you.
You're too close to the oven. Back away and check the cupcakes.
Yeah.
Did you have any scratches show up, Penny, on the hot spot of your back? Scratches. And so I know everybody's like, if you get 3 scratches, it's demonic. Well, how do you know it's a demon? How do you know it's just not a regular spirit?
Maybe it's a 3-fingered ghost. You don't.
It's true.
You know, I mean, I don't put a lot of
Stuff.
Authority into the 3 scratches and into numbers and another one. This is another one that ticks me off, orbs. Every orb. I know people that every orb they see, it's a spirit. I have found that 90% of the orbs are dust. Every once in a while you might encounter that. Even, I've said this before, even an empty house has energy.
Well, everything has energy, because if everything is made up of energy, we're all atoms, and, you know, if you want to get all scientific, everything is made up of energy, you know, and we're all part of the creation, so therefore everything's going to hold some form of energy.
But you stop and think, though, a lot of places that people are...
I can't read chat and talk at the same time, I'm sorry. Pam cracked me up.
I'm trying not to. If you stop and think, a lot of the places that people are investigating are abandoned buildings, old homes, things like that, and they're going to be full of dust. When you walk through the room, you're going to stir up the dust. Very, very seldom have I ever encountered an orb that was actual, and I don't believe orbs are spirits. I believe that...
I think they're energy,
I think they're energy, but I think that they are energy caused by spirits.
Yeah, I'm always looking, when I see like an energy, a true energy orb, I'm always looking around it to see what else there might be, because I think that's just, it's collecting the energy in the area, and it's forming.
Well,
you know?
A lot of people will send me pictures to look at for them, and I've been doing it for years because and I don't want to brag, but I do have a pretty good eye on those things.
Just one eye, not two?
Just one, just the one.
Oh.
But they'll send me pictures of orbs. So if I see an orb in that picture that I get the feeling that, well, yeah, that's energy, I don't look at that orb. I look around it, because what you're going to see is not in that orb. If there's anything there, it's going to be around the orb, because that is what's causing the orb, in my opinion, that is what's causing the orb to appear. Yeah.
That's interesting take. I mean, I kind of believe the same way, too. I don't believe officially that the orb is a ghost, but I believe it's energy it's using to try to manifest itself or whatever. But I also believe that there's also dust and a bunch of other stuff or whatever. But like I said, no means do I claim myself to be an expert. I think we're all equal players, and some of us just can share different opinions and grow from that or whatever. But I mean, I'm not down with all these people who are sitting here charging people and demanding.
Well, I'm not gonna put down anybody that
I'm not putting anybody down, but I'm just not.
I mean, because there are some people out there that believe that orbs are spirits. I just don't happen to believe that way. I just don't happen to believe that all orbs are spirits. I believe that they're energy, and I see very few of them that even have faces in them. I will have somebody send me a picture and say, well, what do you think of the face in this orb? And I will look at it, and I mean, I really look at it. I don't just glance at it. I'll get out a magnifying glass and everything, and I don't see what they're seeing. And not everybody sees everything. You can look at a picture. I can look at a picture, and I may see a ghost or spirit, whatever you want to call it, in that picture. But somebody else that looks at that picture will never see it. A lot of people, and I don't know if it's because of their mind is closed to it, or they just don't believe in it, or they just can't see it, or maybe, just maybe, they want to see it so bad that they're missing it. I know people like that. They want to see ghosts so bad that everything that they look at has one in it. Then they're constantly looking for them. You don't always find them. Not everybody sees them. Not because we can all look at the same picture. 10 of us can look at the same picture, and you might get 10 different answers as to what's in it. I think I lost my co-host. So, anyway, we do have some EVPs that we're going to play for you, and hopefully we can, anybody that has questions, we will be able to answer your questions. And I think what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to go ahead and play a couple EVP. Well, actually, it's one EVP. If you really want to get technical, it's one EVP, but we have 3 different versions of it. And Raven and I, as she was telling you before, Raven and I were talking on Skype, and she has this program that records Skype conversations. So now she tells me a couple days later, or maybe the same day, I don't know, I don't even remember, that she picked up a voice over us. So I'm going to play that for you now and get your take on it. I did not hear that at all. Did anybody hear that? I think we lost our sound.
Messing around because it's hard to, like, 'cause I have something in my head that I want to do.
I'm going to play it again for you real quick. Let me know if you hear this, because I think that we lost our sound.
Messing around because it's hard to, like, 'cause I have something in my head that I want to do. Messing around because it's hard to, like, 'cause I have something in my head that I want to do.
Here is the same EVP, but it's been kind of isolated. And here is the same EVP, but it's been slowed down. And I've listened to these and listened to these, and I just cannot make them out. Just cannot make them out. But the voice is so clear that you know it's in there. And I wish if anybody in chat can make this out, that they at least let us know what is being said. But these were this EVP was picked up. As a matter of fact, we were talking on Skype earlier, and someone said that they were hearing a voice talking over us. So I'm hoping that Raven has been recording again, and maybe we can find out what was being said on there, or hear something. But here it is again. I'm going to play it all for you again, and maybe somebody out there can make them out.
Messing around because it's hard to, like, 'cause I have something in my head that I want to do. Messing around because it's hard to, like, 'cause I have something in my head that I want to do.
It's quick. I have to laugh. You know what it sounds like to me? Squeeze the Charmin. But this is just an example of some of the things that we are going to be able to play for you. So, anyway, like I said, I seem to have lost Raven. So what I'm going to do, and I don't normally do this, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask them. I will do my best to answer. But it's like I said before, I don't put much stock in orbs. I do believe in the paranormal. I do believe in spirits walking around, and I don't believe that they're all demons. Are you back?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I don't know. I think a ghosty was messing with my microphone because the cord was plugged in, and the next thing I looked back down, it was ripped out of the socket. It was in there the whole time, so... Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I hear you loud and clear. As a matter of fact, I hear you better now than I did before. Penny says that she thinks it's saying it's disturbing.
I think it sounds like it's starving, or I don't know, but the thing is, it was clear, because me and you were talking about just average stupid stuff, right?
Right.
And, you know, from duct tape to Utter Bomb to lotion to candy. Who cares what we were talking about? This thing just cut us off in the first 2 minutes of what we were talking about. And it's like, that wasn't the only thing that talked over our call that night. We also had some other things join in. So I think it says it's starving, or I'm starving. But it could be saying it's disturbed, or it could be saying I'm Stan. I don't know. It's the oddest thing. There was nobody at my house or your house.
Well, to me, it sounded like the last word was sermon. I don't know, but Kat just said, spooky, duct tape, Raven to Skype.
Well, hopefully they can hear me now and not just you. So, well, I guess so. They just said lotion. So, but we've also had a female join in on that same Skype call.
Oh yeah, we had what was it? Two or three voices that came in either over us or in the background. But that one just happened to be the loudest, and even though I couldn't really make out what it was saying, I could tell that it was words. The others, I think there was one laughing, wasn't there?
Yeah, well, that was the other day when we were talking on Skype, preparing for the show or whatever, trying to see what's up, and I was trying to remember a password for something, and I was like, I can't remember the password for something, and then this male voice said, like it was pondering with us, remember?
Exactly, and that was just so clear, so clear. But this...
Yeah, but we're not sharing that one because we don't want to put our password out on the air so y'all can hack our email account.
Yeah, so. Raven tried everything. There is just absolutely no way we can get that one on without people hearing our passwords and things like that. So we just decided not to even broadcast that one. But if anybody out there has EVPs that they want us to listen to or they want played on the air.
Or to share on the show. Share on the show.
Or just to share, feel free to send them to us.
Video or photos. Or if they want to call in and be live on their webcam. Like we said, we don't have a cam up because that wasn't our intention. We didn't plan on having a video show. We were just going to do like a talk radio show, but we started off on JTV first just to slap it together because we, weren't sure which avenue we were going to go. But this way, now we can show you guys videos and films and stuff. Like I go out of town, I go to a farm that my folks own, and that place is extremely active, and I'm always catching things move up there because I bring up cameras up there and I do investigations. I'm not able to stream from there yet because we don't have the internet up there, but if we do ever get the internet up there, I would have no problem streaming from up there on our show one time. for people to watch live.
I've thought about setting cams up around this place. I just haven't got to it yet. And to be honest with you, I really don't know if I want people looking in on my private life. You know, I mean, I don't want them to see me duct taping the kids and throwing them in the closet and then use that against me in court.
See your porn stash and stuff.
No, they don't need to know all of that stuff.
That's true. But yeah, to answer the back, since I got cut off when we were talking about orbs and stuff, I guess somebody didn't like what I was talking about and muted me. But and pictures and stuff, like there's some people who share some photos and stuff, and to be honest, half the time I can't see anything. To me, it just looks like it's matrixing. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know how your brain all of a sudden looks for something and creates a face out of something. But there are legitimate photos out there that people have caught things, you know, but there's other ones where it's just too hard for me to say if it is or it's not, you know.
Exactly.
If there is.
But we still there are some people out there that just want to see something so bad they'll mistake, and they're not doing it on purpose. They will mistake matrixing for spirits or something in the picture. But don't let that stop you from sharing your pictures. Don't let it stop you from sharing your EVPs if nobody else can hear anything in there, because you never know.
That one person will validate it with you. Yeah.
Exactly. There's going to be somebody that is going to hear or see the same thing that you do.
Yeah, and we have a group that's connected on a webpage here where you can go and ask to join or whatever, and that's where a bunch of us are sharing our own private stuff of our captures, videos, photos, EVPs, our stories, you know, and it's a very comfortable place where we don't allow people to ridicule or mock you or whatever, and it's a comfortable place where people can come in and say, hey, I'm experiencing this, what do you guys think about this, you know? And we also have our SoundCloud link up on our website too, where we have posted all of our EVPs, and also a little bit from a good friend of ours, Penny's, where she's been sharing a lot with our group too, where she's got a very active place, so we have her EVPs up on there too if you want to check.
Penny has gotten several good things. Several good things. I hear somebody talking in the background now. But
well, it's not.
But the name of the Facebook group is called Spooky's Corner. If you want to go in there and look around, you can ask to join. And if you have questions or anything, we have a lot of good people in that group. You know, if I don't get to you or Raven doesn't get back to you, then somebody in the group is going to help you. I mean, we have fantastic people in that group.
Oh yeah, and all of them have had paranormal experiences or whatnot, I think.
Well, they've either
numerous times, it seems like.
They've either had paranormal experiences or they're interested in it and they want to know more. Some people have experiences. This used to happen to me when I was.
We also have a lot of gifted people in there too.
Oh yeah, we have a lot of gifted people in there. A lot of gifted people. Sometimes I will even to this day, I'll have an experience that I will just ignore. And a lot of people are like that because they think I do it to keep them from bothering me. Because if I don't put my little bubble up, they bombard me. Because spirits know who can see them and who can communicate with them. Don't think for a minute they don't. It's been my experience that they do.
Yeah, it's like your light beacon or like a bug zapper. The bugs know where to go. You know, that's exactly how I feel, you know, when they're harassing me and stuff.
Exactly.
And also for anybody who's listening, if you happen to hear other voices talking with us, we can't help it. We both have active spirits that seem to hang out with us, and they always want to get their 2 cents in whenever we're communicating with each other. Whenever me and Spooky are talking with each other, whatever, you'll hear different voices chime in from time to time. So I'm sorry if they get vulgar or the things that they say we have no control over stopping them, because half the time we can't hear it and we hear it later on afterwards.
Yeah,
but a lot of people
when we do the replay, we'll hear them then. But I have one that'll hang around. Matter of fact, my back is ice cold right now because I have one that seems to like to hang around my back when I'm on the internet. I don't know why. Maybe he likes surfing the web. But we just can't control these sort of things. And don't let anybody ever tell you that, well, I can control this. No, you can't. Because they're fickle. They're going to do what they want to do. You can walk into a haunted house, one that you know for a fact is haunted. You can go into that place 5 times. Maybe 2 out of 5 times you might pick up something. You might see some activity. In my opinion, they're fickle. They're only going to act when they want to.
Well, that's true. Some people never get an experience, but they know other people have experiences, but they so badly want to have experiences so that they'll pay to go to these supposedly haunted places and pay people that are supposedly, the expert of all experts. But you know what? Ghosts don't come on cue or on demand. They're not puppets. We have free will here. We have free will over there. And half the time you never know what you have to be careful because you don't know what you're getting into. Sometimes you don't want to go pull out the Ouija board. I mean, I'm totally against the Ouija board. I'm sorry for those who are into it or whatever, but I've had nothing but bad experiences when it came with that stuff, and nothing but dark. I don't go around with that.
Ouija boards, I will not go into a house. I will not, going to a house that I know for a fact they have a Ouija board. There's been times that I've walked into a place and we'll be sitting and talking about things and somebody will say, oh, you want to get the Ouija board out and play with it? I get up and leave. I do not mess with Ouija boards. Playing with a Ouija board is opening up a doorway, and every time you open up a doorway, you expect something to walk through. And I've had people tell me, well, I close it out. I know what I'm doing. No, you don't. What about the things that have walked through before you closed it out? How do you know they went back through it? What makes you think that since you closed out the Ouija board, which I've never heard of doing that, but what makes you think since you closed out the Ouija board that what walked through is not still there? I've cleaned up messes caused from Ouija boards, and they're not pleasant. And I have never gone in to clean up a mess that it wasn't something terrible.
Well, how do you know you closed the portal? I mean, most of the time when you're doing a Ouija board, you're inviting these things to be in your body. So how do you know that you're casting them out of your body? Or how do you know that they're not still attached to you or around you and draining your energy or using you? I mean, there's so many unknown factors.
Well,
like you really don't know what you're getting into.
They will do that. They'll drain you. They'll try to drain you. But a lot of people don't realize that the Ouija board was invented specifically for communicating with the dead. It wasn't until Parker Brothers got a hold of it that it was manufactured as a toy. And I know several people who have these things in their homes and let their children play with them because they don't know any better. They think it's a toy. They think that, well, there's magnets in there and the magnets are moving this and that and everything else. No. That's not what's happening. What's happening is that you are unintentionally opening up a doorway and you don't know what's going to walk through it.
Yeah. And tonight, we're just kind of bantering about little things about what we think about and, our opinions on some stuff. But like we said, we're going to be talking about a ton of topics. I mean, we have a topic already picked out for next week that we were going to do tonight, but like I said, a good friend of ours suggested that we just talk a little bit of who we are and things that we're kind of into or not into or whatever. But, just because we talk about something now doesn't mean that our opinion doesn't change over time. We're always growing spiritually, and I am anyways, and open to learning and growing all the time. I'm not stagnant in one thought or one pattern, and I'm not going to, and just because somebody else has a different belief from me doesn't mean that I'm going to treat them in a negative manner or, be rude to them or whatever. It's like we're all on a journey here, you know what I mean? And it's just like we're just learning as we're going. So I'm not going to, just because I may not agree with you doesn't mean that I'm going to treat you poorly, and hopefully they'll do the same. Because this is a place where, when it comes to this aspect of spirituality, it's like nobody's really an expert, No,
they're not. Nobody is an expert. I'm not an expert. I only know what works for me. And that's it. I've had lots of people ask me for advice, and all I can do is tell them what works for me, and I let them know that that's what works for me. I'm not an expert. I don't charge. If I charged, I could have made a lot of money with all the places that I have been into to clean up or to investigate when people have asked me, and I get a lot of mine through word of mouth. But I live in a small area too, so everybody knows everybody.
Yeah, well, you think it'd be kind of hard in a smaller town, you know, because with a smaller town, you almost feel like you don't want to come out because then you'd be, ridiculed the whole town.
This is an old town, and we have a lot of big houses here that have been sitting here since, the early 1800s. So, and I live close to Alton, Illinois, which is the most haunted little city in the state. So there's all kinds of paranormal, and then north of me there is a county with a lot of very, very old houses. So this area that I live in, this is not a new area. This is a very, very old area. So there's a lot of things going on here, and even people with some of the things that have happened on the land around here. Just like a month ago, a woman was talking about she's living in a house, a brand new house. It was built just a year ago, and she's talking about seeing these things in her home. And now, since a home is only a year old, she thinks that there is absolutely, positively cannot be anything in it.
Well, I have a question. Wait, I have a question just before I lose thought. Just because a house is a year old, you don't know how old the wood is. You don't know who touched the wood, who made, how much different energy was crossed into building this whole place.
Right.
Who came in, what was attached to them, where did the tree come from that built the wood to frame the house out? Was this tree on a Native American land, or was there some horrific crime that took place on this land? I mean, just because a house is newer doesn't mean that it's safe. I mean, to me, spirit and energy is everywhere 24/7. I think it's such a thin veil.
That's my point. The land that the house was built on, I think there was like a massacre or something there. I forget exactly what happened, but that's the thing. Just because the house is a year old does not mean. We have a church that is haunted, and they can't figure out why this church is haunted, because after all, nothing bad happens in a church, right? That's where you go to worship God. Well, come to find out, the church is built from the old limestone blocks that used to be the Confederate prison, and that Confederate prison had smallpox, had abuse, had starvation, had all kinds of things happen in it. And I believe that that's the reason the church is haunted, because when they dismantled that old prison, well, they wanted to use something with the limestone, and there are lots of limestone quarries around this area. Well, they decided, well, we'll build a church. Okay.
Yeah.
Free blocks, free stone, and all this. Well, to me, their mistake was, for one, the only mistake they made, in my opinion, was they used the limestone blocks from the old prison. So that's going to carry over into that church. And limestone is real good about holding paranormal activity and soaking it up.
Well, I mean, it could be also who's in the church. For all you know, there could be attachments to the people who come in. So, I mean, it's a little, like, to me, I think it's free-flowing. There's no limitation for spiritual experience. I think that it's such a thin veil that they can be anywhere, really, if it, so maybe they're not haunting the place. Maybe they're just hanging out because someone's paying attention to them.
Nobody reports that these spirits are interacting. They just report that they see them. Soldiers, and they say that the soldiers are Confederate soldiers, which is kind of strange because there was no Civil War activity around here, but there was a Civil War, a Confederate prison, and there is a Confederate cemetery here. But as far as the Civil War actually reaching this area, no. It didn't do it. Matter of fact, this area was one of the free areas for slaves. So
that could go with what I'm saying. Maybe the lumber that built the church could have came from somewhere south where a tree was growing, where there was Civil War activity. They chopped down that tree, turned it into lumber that was now built to use for the church, and that energy is still stuck in there.
Oh, I can agree with that. We have elderly man. Well, he's an elderly man now, but he lives in an old house that he built from an old barn that was dismantled. And more than once he had, and a lot of people think he's crazy, you know, but more than once he has mentioned hearing voices. And the cabin, I call it a cabin, it's only like 3 rooms, but it was built from an old barn. You know, those kind of building materials can hold paranormal attachments.
Well, like, we have a barn that's well over 100 and some years old, almost 200 years old, but before it was a barn, it was the roundhouse to the train station, and they rerouted that, took it out. Well, they took the wood and built our barn for it, the nails and all, so who knows what energy or what's attached to that and what's hanging with that, you know?
Exactly.
I've told you before, I've already caught EVPs of trains going through at our farm, and there's no railroad tracks anywhere near there for miles and miles, you know? So, like it's, you know, like we said, this show, tonight we're just kind of discussing who we were and to let you guys kind of get to know who we are, but next week we have a specific topic, and every week we're going to have a specific topic. We also don't mind if you guys want to call in and join in with our conversation about what we're talking about that night, or if you have a topic that you want for us to talk about, or if you want to call in and do a show with us or share your EVPs, photos, videos, or your own experiences, we're totally game with it. Just, you know, message us here on our website, and we'll get back with you guys, whatever. But we want to thank everybody who tuned in.
You can also
tonight.
Everybody that came in tonight, thank you so much. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. If anyone wants to send us an email or send an idea for a topic, something that they want to hear us discuss, you can send it to anythingbutordinary@live.com.
Or they can take us right here on our webpage.
Yes, you can leave messages on our webpage. If you want to call into Skype, it's anythingbutordinary@live.com is our Skype name. And if you want to check out Spooky's Corner on Facebook, then request to join. We'll let you come in and look around.
Yeah, it's where it's a safe place to share your own experiences whenever and talk to other like-minded people too. But I just want to say thank you everybody who popped in, and thanks for listening and for sharing us.
We're hoping to get a 2-hour show going. The reason that we're going to be leaving here in a couple minutes, the reason this show tonight is short is because neither one of us are feeling very well. But we wanted to get this show launched and just kind of get it over with and get our feet in the water a little bit. But we do appreciate everyone that has come in, and we hope that you've had a good time and that you enjoyed our little banter.
And then that's about it. And I want to thank Richard and Penny for modding tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Keeping Kat in line, because we know how crazy she gets sometimes. So, but next week our topic's going to be on skinwalkers and the Wendigo and shape-shifting and stuff like that. We have a lot to talk about when it comes to that, and we also have a little bit of video that could be possibly a skinwalker caught on tape.
Yep, sure do. So thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate it, and we hope that all of you have a good night.